Welcome to Fighting Back. News talk, current events, and political commentary. Now here's the host of Fighting Back, Uncle Ronnie.
Well, hello, everybody. We're down here in beautiful North Phoenix, and we're having a good time tonight. And you'll notice there's a vacant spot here on the board, and it says Ray Michaels. Ray's not here. We have a lot of activities going on tonight, and down at the Capitol we have this humongous thing going on that you'll really love. We're going to talk about it a little later. Ray might call in. We'll have to see about that. But he's down at the Capitol, and he's videotaping things, and he might call us as to what's going on. There is this rally, and it's about voter fraud in Arizona, and it is powerful. We want you to all listen to some of the things we're going to talk about tonight. And I want to introduce Walt Blackman. Welcome to the show, Walt.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
This is a gentleman that I've only just met last week. We had lunch together. I have been really impressed with this man's career because one of the things that he is a conservative Republican in the Arizona State Legislature. And we don't have a lot of super conservatives. This man is a very conservative individual, yep. And he's I've seen a lot of the bills that he has helped sponsor and speak up with, and I've been pretty impressed with it. So last week, Eric Winook, who is often on our show as a co-host, had introduced me, and we had lunch together. And Walt, I'm really impressed with you.
Thanks.
It's seldom that I don't know candidates, but or people that are down there, but this year's been so crazy with COVID that I haven't gotten down there, and everybody, and even if I did get down there, everybody's masked up, and you can't
even get in the Capitol
you gotta
these
have
days.
A name tag on to see who's who.
Yeah, a biosuit just to get in. Yeah.
So this is you just were reelected.
Yes. This is my second term.
My
second term, and before I got into this mad, crazy deal with politics, I actually served 21 years in the United States military. I was a tank commander.
And thank you so much for your service, and I've read a lot of your material.
I appreciate that.
About serving the country, and your service not only in the military but now your service to in the legislature is. Because I believe that service to humanity is the best work of God.
Yeah,
and
it is.
And I know you're a man of the Lord as well. So.
Absolutely. I have 5 kids, so I have to believe in God. Gotta pray.
I appreciate that. Now, okay, so what got you from being in the military, especially a tank commander, to I look at this as you're in the war zone in the legislature. But tell us how you got in, where you're from, how you worked your way into the military as a professional.
Yeah. So I joined the military in 1995, and then I went to Fort Knox, Kentucky, where they teach you how to be an armored crewman. Did that for 21 years, and
You guarded the gold.
I didn't guard the gold because they don't really have any gold in Fort Knox. They just got this building, and they say the gold's there. But Fort Knox, Kentucky, is the home of armor. It was. It's moved down to South Carolina or North Carolina now. So I did that for 21 years, and when I retired in 2016, I went to work for the Department of Defense again as a civilian. Uh-huh. And we were stationed up in Kansas, Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, and when I worked for Commanding General Lundy there, and he's 3-star general, and my job was basically to run their sexual assault and prevention program. So I did that for the Deputy Commander of TRADOC, which is the Training and Doctrine Command, for a year. And Senator Allen, it happens to be a really good friend of our family's.
That's Sylvia Allen.
Sylvia Allen, who's great. She said, I'd like for you to run for office. And I said, what office? And she said, State Representative. And I said, well, I'm the wrong guy because I still got some sergeant left in me, and you might not want me down there. And she said she prayed about it, and my wife and I prayed about it. And we came back to Arizona to meet with her. And what got me was not the prayer, but the cake that she served me in her house.
Oh, gee.
So after that, I actually, seriously, I saw what the United States was looking at and how Arizona was shaping up. And I looked at how the leaders are not really standing up for the
boy.
for the
Tell
people.
me about that.
For the people. And I, am a resident of Arizona, and I wanted my leaders to be strong and aggressive and make sure that they take care of their constituents. And I didn't see that. I didn't see a lot of representation up in northeastern Arizona other than Senator Allen.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't a tough decision to get in and serve. I've served my whole life, and I come from a service family. My father was in the Air Force for 26 years. My grandfather served. And service is expected of the Blackman household. And so when I was asked to run, walked away from a lot of money to making the salary as a state representative. But it's not about the money. It's what I wanted to do for my constituents in LD6 and Arizona. And that is to protect their freedoms and their rights.
You're saying the right things to me. One of the things that, and we can get into this a little later if you wish. I don't want to get you too involved in some of the goings on here in Maricopa County.
Wow.
Because you don't live in Maricopa County. You live in Navajo County.
I live in Navajo County, Snowflake. Now imagine that. A black guy who lives in a town called Snowflake. Now, all my Army buddies would give me a hard time about that, too.
Oh, boy.
They were like, yeah, where do you live again, Sergeant? I said, yeah, don't worry about it. So, yeah.
Well, at any rate, we'll go into this a little bit about this service mentality.
Yeah.
It's always been my thoughts. I don't want to put words in your mouth. I want you to tell me what you think. But it's always been, when you run for political office, the word is representative.
Exactly, representative.
Which means you represent someone's views.
Yes.
And
yes.
if you are in the legislature and I'm your constituent, you're representing me.
Exactly. It is not about my personal wants. It is about the people's wants, the collective group. And we are missing that. And what I also see, I've seen while I've been in the legislature, that a lot of legislators forget why they're up there.
Oh, yes. And this is one of the sad things, and it happens all over the place, and it's happened here in Maricopa County. Instead of people saying, what do the people in my district want or need? Mm-hmm. And the needs are different, obviously, in Navajo County. Navajo's an Indian tribe, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, and you represent a portion of the tribe, I believe.
Well, actually, I don't represent the Navajo Nation. That's LD7. Mm-hmm. I represent everything south of that. So if you just center mass, Sedona, Flagstaff, and then you go on up to Holbrook and Taylor and Snowflake, and then you cut across to Cottonwood and Verde Valley. So those are the areas that I cover.
That's a big district.
It is the second largest district in the United States.
Whoa. Boy, to campaign, you must have to use a little bit of
gas,
windshield time and gas.
Oh, yeah. I've gone through, I'd say, 4 windshields already. Yes. That's my sacrifice.
You haven't hit any deer or anything yet.
No. No. Haven't hit any deer. I've seen a lot on the road. However, that's the commitment that I have for my district. And my family is also served. Also, my wife Christy, when we first ran our campaign, we did it. My wife calls it. We did the jungle warfare. Because we were new, no names, no name recognition, and we just really worked hard. And what we found is that when you do what the people ask you to do, and you follow the Constitution, it's not a hard job. Being in the military and being a senior non-commissioned officer, it was a lot more easier for me than I figured, because it was just about doing the right thing. I used to have a command sergeant major that used to tell us, choose the hard right over the easy wrong. And we have a lot of folks down there that are Republicans or say that they're Republicans that are casting votes to keep their seats instead of casting votes to protect the people that they are supposed to represent.
I love that philosophy. It's very strong. That's the way our nation was established, in my opinion.
Yes.
Because, if you go back to England and that they talk about taxation Without representation, well, taxation with representation's not a good thing either.
No, that's big
But the
government.
bottom line is you look after the people that put you there. That's why they put you there.
Yes.
And I always tell people, you're there because I can't be.
Exactly.
And you're willing to, and I don't have the time or the effort to do that.
Exactly. So I often ask when I'm talking to people. I do a lot of door knocking. I'm on the ground all the time because that's my job.
Yes.
Okay. I can't do my job if I don't know what you want. And folks will ask me, so what's your first priority? And my first priority, and I think every legislator should know this, is to protect the people from the federal government. That is our job.
Boy, you are you're saying the right things
Well-
here. That's
well-
my philosophy.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I've done.
And that's pretty much our audience's philosophy as well, I might tell you that.
Exactly. So our voice is your voice. My voice is my constituents' voices. And my constituents want smaller government. They want us to balance the budget. They want us to make sure that we take care of the infrastructure here in Arizona. And that's exactly what we do. That's what I do. And I know why I'm there, and I know who's put me up there, and that's the people of LD6. And I don't forget that for one day.
Excellent. It's probably quite a dramatic change from, in the military,
Yeah.
it's time to get up, it's time to march, it's time to do all this, very, very regimented. And here, oftentimes I don't see a lot of regimentation down at the Capitol. There's a lot of
Hodgepodge?
confusion.
Yeah.
And people that you think are one day on your side, the next day they're on another side of an issue.
Yeah. And that's just all about just principles.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. So in the military, we had this. Whenever we had a plan, I fought in Iraq and Afghanistan, and we had a concept called an op order, and that's an operation order before we go into any town or to conduct any kind of operation.
Yes.
And what we've learned as senior leaders in the military, you can plan all day, but as soon as you hit contact, your plan goes to crap. So you have to be flexible, and that's what's going on right now. We had a plan to get through the economy and get through session and to pass a full budget instead of a skinny budget. And what happened is COVID hit us, and then we had supposed leadership that didn't know how to react to that. And we saw a lot of following. So what a leader does is a leader is able to flex, and you're able to make sure that the decisions you make going forward don't hurt those that you are supposed to protect. And I saw that, and I'm looking around the room saying, this can't be this easy to do. You move forward, okay? This is not a political deal here. When we have businesses that are closing, when we have an executive that is writing executive orders like the failed Obama administration and trying to run that through a state that is conservative, I mean, come on, Stevie Wonder could see that's wrong, and that's like him driving.
Well, how do you? And I already know the answer because I've seen snippets of you on the floor speaking.
Yeah.
How do you take the military training that you've had and put it in here? Do you think it's been advantageous?
Yes.
In what ways?
Absolutely. It keeps me focused and disciplined. Focused on the message and discipline on the task. And with everything we do, there's a task, conditions, and standards. And I use that. So what's the task in my district? Well, conservative leadership. What are the conditions? I'm in a hostile environment because we have the liberals on the left, the elites that think that they own the state, and we have some of the, I call them rubber knees Republicans, which make it a bad condition. And the standards to make sure I do my job. So I take all that, what I've learned, and I apply it to, I call it the battlefield. And it's a target-rich environment in the house. So,
Boy.
and I just work hard doing it.
Well, I've known Sylvia for quite some time. It's interesting how I met Sylvia. I disagreed with something that she did.
Yeah.
And I either called her, I think I wrote to her. But I left my name. I give my
You left your name on
out,
there.
And that was my mistake. No, I gave her my name and my phone number. And a couple of days later, she called.
And yes,
and she just kind of got on me. She said, "Why don't you come down here and let's talk?"
Uh-oh.
Which I did.
Okay.
And I
Did she
fell in
give you?
love with her.
Did she
great,
make?
great legislator.
Did she give you a cake?
No.
Okay. Well.
I should have expected one. Listen, we're going to have a break coming up here. It's the day before New Year's Eve. So we don't have any cake. We don't have any eggnog left. I don't know. We should have invited you last week because we had eggnog.
Yeah, you were ready to go, right? It's a full moon, so we should be
It is a full moon. Hey, listen, we'll see you guys on the other side. We're fighting back, so you just stay tuned.
Today, the world is full of misinformation. News stories on the surface may seem real, but under closer scrutiny are fake. Corruption and fraud are everywhere. There's a better political news and information website, backstreetgossip.com, where you'll find the latest stories and information that's circling the media world. You'll see stories of the day and stories that will be discussed tomorrow. Backstreetgossip.com will provide you with informative content that any reader would be amazed to gossip about. Backstreetgossip.com, providing information from Earth and beyond. In a world where security matters more than ever, Lionheart Security Services stands head and shoulders above the competition. Whether it's airport security, high-rise residential and office security, event security, warehouse security, or even personal security, call the best of the best. Lionheart Security Services. We provide armed and unarmed officers. Our armed officers are held to the strictest standards of 90% accuracy, 20% higher than Arizona standards. When it comes to securing you, your goods, and services. Call Lionheart Security Services, 480-485-2304, or find them on the web at lionheartsecurityservices.com.
I participated in just a Senate Judiciary Committee meeting that occurred where they asked some of those same questions that I had asked them to go over the canvas, and some of those same questions were asked. But this one lasted 6 hours, and I did the best I could. So did Mr. Jarrett, and then on the legal side, so did Mr. Liddy, to give them a full scope of what this election and how it transpired, the processes, the people behind it, the machinery, the software, and that's what I went down there for, to educate that, and then to be slapped with 2 subpoenas. Was, I don't know, I could be viewed that as a slap in the face. Because none of those questions or concerns that they served on us were asked about with those subpoenas and what drove those. So I had to then feel that those subpoenas were predetermined, no matter what I went there to say, no matter what our legal team went down there to say, and especially no matter what Mr. Jarrett had to say. So it's to me that's kind of telling.
You're listening to Fighting Back News Talk. current events, and political commentary. Now here's the host of Fighting Back, Uncle Ronnie.
Well, here we're back, and it's the day before the. Is that a sentence? The day before the day before?
Yes.
2021? Yeah, something like that. At any rate, this is our last show this year, but we'll be back next year, and we'll still be fighting back. But we're here tonight with Walt Blackman. He's a representative from Legislative District 6, second largest district in the United States.
In the United States.
Whoa! I know that's a big district. When you told me the boundaries, I mean, it takes you half a day to get across.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, down here, their district goes a couple of blocks, I guess. I don't know. But
wow.
Yeah.
Now here I'm in LD15, which
Okay.
is it's a pretty big district.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you can get across it in half an hour.
Yeah, I wish I could do that in my district.
At any rate, Ray Michaels is downtown. We have this big meeting today. We're talking about the voter fraud in Arizona and the little comedy thing we had here with the Board of Supervisors. They've done the wrong thing, ladies and gentlemen. They voted against honoring a subpoena, which is against the law, actually.
Yes, it is.
When you talk about Arizona revised statutes, and we're talking about a couple of things here, we're talking about, and you probably don't have this memorized, but it's ARS 411151, which is the legality of a subpoena. The legislature does have the authority to do that with the signature of the president of the Senate or the Speaker of the House.
Exactly. Yeah.
And there's another one that, to ignore it could make people subject to arrest. And it was ignored by the Board of Supervisors. They took it to court, and there's no reason to do the wrong thing for the people. As Walt Blackman just discussed, you serve the people. These people are representing the status quo and the establishment.
Yeah.
And it's very troubling to me, Walt, to see this. Now, there's 5 people there. 4 of them voted no and to ignore the subpoena. 1 voted in favor of it, and that was Steve Chukri. And I'm really sorry to say that I tried to talk to Steve yesterday. He's got COVID. He's not in good health right at the moment.
My goodness.
And I wanted to have him, and we want to thank him for that vote. Some people say, well, he voted for political expediency. If you do the right thing, I think good things happen to you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we're both good Christian men, and good things happen when you do
good things. You do what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I had some questions about what happened down here in Maricopa, and I actually wrote a letter to President Fan, CC'd our Speaker of the House, Rusty Bowers, and requested that she exercise her authority under the legislation or the statute that you just mentioned, that she can subpoena that. And if the folks aren't abiding by that subpoena, that she can send the sergeant of arms out to arrest these folks. Now, if you or I got a subpoena and we said, "Oh, nah, it's okay, I'm going to have some milk and cookies," what do you think would happen to us?
You might want to enjoy them behind bars.
Exactly. And it's funny how the leftists will say that President Trump is not above the law. Remember during Russellgate?
Yes.
President Trump is not above the law. But we have leftists that think that they're above the law by not following the laws of the state to turn over that information. Yeah. And if you have nothing to hide, why wouldn't you want to clear your name?
Exactly. Now, the thing is this rally that's going on downtown, they're presenting evidence publicly, presenting evidence of wrongdoing.
Yes.
Now, it's very hard for these supervisors to say, we didn't know that. Well, we didn't know it because you didn't open up your arms and say, we represent you, the people, and we want to get to the bottom of this. If there is wrongdoing, those that did wrong should be punished. And
exactly.
If everything is copacetic, and I told them, I said, audits are about compliance. They're not about evidence.
Exactly.
But in compliance auditing, you can find wrongdoing if it's there. If not, everybody's exonerated. We all want to feel that our vote counted.
Yeah.
Now, these 4 men, as you probably know down there, They're passing out petitions now to recall them. That's right, to recall them. In Arizona, we have something, some of the western states have. If you feel that a politician is not doing the right thing in political office, you can recall them. They have to face another election to present themselves and say, okay, do you want me or do you want the guy that is challenging me?
Yeah.
And it can be a good thing. It can be abused, but I don't think it's being abused in this case.
No, not in this case. I mean, it's just like any other job. If you're not doing the job, your boss can remove you. Your boss in this situation are the people that put you in that office. And I think, as I said before earlier, we have a lot of politicians that have forgotten that. But I want to clear up something. Not clear it up, but I just want to be laser focused on an issue. This election is not just about President Trump. We'd like to see him return to the White House for another 4 years because he's done a great job for the economy and actually the black community. This election, or these questions that are being asked, is about our election process.
Yes.
And everyone has a right to have their voice heard. And if our voice isn't heard, there is an issue, because we've gone through that. And I know that the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment helped my ancestors.
Of course, yeah.
To vote, and I would
Let's tell what they are, just so that people are aware of the 13th, 14th, and 15th.
Okay, so the 13th Amendment is the Emancipation Proclamation to free the slaves.
Slavery.
Eliminated slavery. The 14th Amendment was citizenship, and then the 15th Amendment was the right to vote. Now, when President Lincoln signed the proclamation to free slaves, he was looking towards the future.
Yes.
The hundreds of thousands of black Americans that would follow the ancestors that were enslaved. But he also said that black Americans that were freely enslaved had to fend for themselves, and that is personal accountability and doing what is necessary to contribute to the community, contribute to the country, and also take care of themselves. I think we've lost that. However, we have people that are trying to steal the vote, and that's deafening to me to see that happen.
Well, that's one of the terrible things about this. America was founded on individual liberty.
Yes.
And when I say that, I mean, you're responsible for what you do.
Yes.
And I'm responsible for what I do.
Yes.
You're not responsible for what your father did or your mother or your sisters or anybody else. You're your own person.
Exactly.
And you make or break yourself the way you present yourself. And you've presented yourself very well, being in the military, being reelected. And we know it was a tough job. We know, and partially because you're a black person,
yeah,
the Democrats do not want to see a successful black Republican and a conservative and a good Christian.
Oh, yeah, they don't want to see that.
They don't want to see any of that.
I'm their worst nightmare, though.
Yes, yes. And what's so bad about this is you're breaking away and becoming exactly what our Constitution allows us to be.
Exactly.
Your own person, and you create your own life, your own wealth, your own family, your own direction in life.
Exactly.
Which is exactly what every American is guaranteed by the Constitution.
Exactly.
Now, one of the things that many of you don't know is that in California has a law, it's the top two. And I think you and I have discussed this, and I've told you what they were trying to do to you. Now, what the top two is basically this. All the political parties can run in an election, okay? And the top two vote getters are the ones that key off or face off in the general election.
Yes.
Now, in a Democrat area, that means a Democrat runs against a Democrat, no Republican running.
Yeah.
What's really sad about this is it really gives minority political parties zero place to go, because if you're a small upstart political party, you're never going to make it to the top two.
Yeah, yeah.
So what happens, we're going to have to take a break here, but what happens is in California, they were taking money out of some of their districts, legislative districts, and they said, we're going to get a Democrat either way. Let's go into Arizona. And they picked out Walt Blackman because of his color, specifically to defeat, because they cannot stand to see a black person become totally independent, become a Christian, and especially a Republican, and a successful one at that. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Tim Horn for Breaking News. Boy, we've got a great show here today. We're in a series of interviewing young people from other countries. We want to thank Project Arizona for helping put this together. Today, I've got Kamala Neopane, and she is from Nepal, a country that not a lot of Americans know a whole lot about. I've learned a little bit that Nepal has been a monarchy for historically, it's been a monarchy. It was never controlled by the British. I made that mistake of thinking that it was, and that's not true. But they did fight along India when they were trying to gain their independence from Britain. And everybody knows about the Gurkhas, and they're from Nepal. So is Kamala. So let's get talking to her. Kamala, you're 24 years old.
Yes.
And you saw the change from your country being a monarchy and moving into becoming socialist.
Yeah.
And what was that like?
So for me, it was like for Nepalese people, it was like not so similar. Like it's ruled by king and like lots of dictatorship, I must say. And after that, Nepalese people fought a lot to get into the democracy. So we are a socialist democratic country, I must say. So yeah, it's been like bird flying in the open sky. You know what I mean?
It's like what?
Bird flying in the open sky. It's like freedom and lots of things. But the thing is that it's for Nepalese people feel that liberty and freedom for a short period of time because our government changed, and then nowadays it's ruled by the communist people, communist party. So we don't have much freedom. It's like
How did the Communist Party get control of Nepal?
It's a history that Nepalese politics are always influenced by either China or India.
Influenced by China and India.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to the communists, they are always much more influenced by China rather than India. And they are much more dictator. They want to govern people, and everything is like, if you see the history of Nepal, we don't have independent system. Like we don't have independent monetary system. We don't have independent legislative system. Everything is governed by the government. It's like that.
So the government controls your economy
Yes.
and business.
Yes.
Are they a lot of regulations about your personal life?
Yeah, a lot of. There is no individual freedom. What is like in America or like in other countries.
How so? Give me an example.
If you need to be monitor every time, you don't have freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech.
Yeah, you don't have freedom of expression.
No
Even,
expression.
Yeah, we have lots of caste and class system,
yeah.
I must say. And if I belong to high caste and high class, I'm not allowed to marry a low caste or a low class guy. So they will punish me, and it's like that. They are going to govern everyone. They want to regulate everyone, every individual like that. Another example is that I'm not being a girl. I'm not allowed to work during the nighttime.
Why?
It's rules. It's
a rule.
Yeah, after 12, I'm not allowed to work.
Because you're a woman?
Yes, I'm a girl, that's why.
Oh, you're a girl. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're a woman, so you can't work at night.
Yeah.
As an example.
Yes.
Men can.
Men can. So It's a government rule. So
Are you controlled, like I hear, I know people are in Saudi Arabia, where women can't go without an escort and that sort of thing? Is there that?
it's not like that, but Nepal is a patriarchal society. It's a Malayam, and that's the reason. Like, if I got married, like even if I have my youngest brother with me, like my family will say, like most of their family will say, take your brother with you when you go outside. They are like, driven by a man, and they say, oh, you are a girl, don't do this. Or like, I want to go to high school, or else I want to go to clubbing with my friends. No, you are a girl, don't do
You're
that.
a girl, you can't go clubbing.
Yes.
How about education? Is it also difficult as a woman to get educated?
It is so difficult to get education in Nepal for a female. That is why
Even
I
an upper
advocate of,
class
like,
female?
Yeah, but it's even like every female, not from upper caste and not from the lower caste. So it's like, it is nowadays Kathmandu are like Kathmandu, like capital of Nepal.
Yes.
From that place, people are most like encouraging female education. But if it's outside of like Kathmandu Valley, like it's so hard to get a girl education. So
Outside
hard
of
for them,
Kathmandu, the capital, it's more difficult.
Yes, so difficult to get girls education, and they said like there is no use to educate girls' child.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like that. So
How about in the workforce? Then, if you do get an education, is the workforce amenable to having women in it?
it is so biased, I must say. So they said like they have their one perspective. They said like, oh, girls are the factory to produce a child, nothing more.
No, they're what?
They are the factory, they are a machine to produce a child, nothing more. They said like that. So why do we need a girl or a female or women to work in our company? Go to your house and just be in kitchen.
Work at home, work at the kitchen.
So they treat a female as in such a bad way. It's like that.
So how do you find America when you look at how women are treated here?
Oh wow, I love America. Like you have freedom of speech, you have freedom of expression. You can work whatever you like. I heard.
You can go to clubs too.
Yes. Oh my God. It's like that. Like I have heard a lots of story from my friend over here in America. They said, oh, over here, like male are much more biased from female. They said like that. And I said, oh my God, it's interesting. And they said, like female, if female can female say anything to male, but male can't say anything to female, like a country. It's like that.
Well, unfortunately, I disagree with that because it's swung so far that I'm a person who's written and talked about how everybody must be treated equally, the same by our government. And it would solve a lot of our problems that we have here. We have problems too, and that's one of them. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be the other way. It shouldn't be the way you're saying either. So I want to get to one thing that happened because this is something that is going to stun you, but it happened while she's been visiting here in the United States. And so quickly, because I don't want to run out of time, she went out and was filmed, videotaped, shooting a gun for the first time, which is something she has never done, never even thought she could do in her country, and probably you can't, I guess.
Yes.
But so she went out and had filmed. She posted on her Facebook page. And why don't you tell us what happened?
Yes, I'm here for the project called Project Arizona, and like if I say the history of why I got selected in Project Arizona, I'm a freedom fighter from Nepal.
So she's saying, if you didn't get that, she's a freedom fighter from Nepal.
Yeah. So I love to advocate about the things, good things, like freedom of speech, right, and expression from my early childhood when I was 16 and got by some, we have some political problem in Nepal. From that time I always advocate about, I love to advocate about freedom of speech, expression, and girls' education mostly. So I was here and I got an opportunity to go to shooting with my friends, and I said, oh my God, it's a good time to take a video and post that in Facebook. I did that, and I made a short video saying that guns should be legalized in Nepal.
You said that?
Yes, I said that, and because of the following reason, and the reason are so good.
And what did you tell them? Why should guns be legal in
So
Nepal?
I said them it's for the self-defense, because Nepal is in between China and India, and you know that China and India don't have good relationship.
That's right.
And another thing is that Nepal is so connected with Pakistan as well, and India and Pakistan don't have good relation with them. So and then, like we have open border in India and Nepal. So every time, at any time, Indian people can attack Nepalese people. I don't believe Indian government much. So I said, oh, guns should be legalized in Nepal just for the self-defense, And
Okay.
the main rule of democratic country is like self-defense. It's a fundamental thing.
Got
I
it.
said that thing. So another thing what I said is like we have high domestic violence. So just for a female, guns should be legalized in Nepal, and government should teach female how to use gun. I said those things like a simple thing.
So what happened to her, because we're almost out of time, what happened to her is her government got in touch with her and wanted her to take that Facebook interview
Video.
down. She
Yes.
wanted that video down. She refused to. And now she has an arrest warrant issued by her country that she's got to
Yes.
face upon return.
Yes, that is the fact, and I'm just waiting for the good time to go back, and let's see what will happen for me.
So a freedom fighter from Nepal, a female freedom fighter from Nepal. Boy, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, well.
But we want to thank Kamala for coming today because it's so unusual to hear a voice like this in our country. And today, you're hearing it on Breaking News. Kamala, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting
You're
me.
welcome.
You're listening to Fighting Back News Talk, current events, and political commentary. Now here's the host of Fighting Back, Uncle Ronnie.
Hey, we're back, and you saw those beautiful mountains of Nepal. Ray just skied down the mountain and got here.
Yes, it was a little rough, but I was able to do it. All that training that I've been going through.
Well, we're here with Walt Blackman, and on the line we have the abominable snowman. No, we have Tim Horn. Welcome to the show, Tim.
Thank you very much, Ron. How are you doing tonight?
We have Walt Blackman and Ray Michaels here.
Hello, Tim.
How you doing, Tim?
Well, I'm excited knowing about Walt. I'm excited. Ray's good, but I'm I've never met Walt before. And knowing what he's up to and what he's done is impressive to me. And I know Brenda Barton.
Yes.
And I like that. I like that woman, and I think you guys work together. You do, don't you?
Yes, we do. Brenda is phenomenal. She's a
Yes,
great
she is.
legislator. She cares about rural Arizona. She's a
really
resource
does.
person. So she's gonna make a great addition to the House.
Well, listen, I want to pop a little surprise here, so I'm going to ask everybody just to be very quiet.
I know
because
you're talking to me.
This is, yeah. Ray just he rushed from the Capitol where they had this big rally, and they're recalling our supervisors, which is a good thing because they don't listen to the people, and the people have every right to say, you're no longer going to serve us because you're not serving us well. But Walt, your leadership skills, I've paid a lot of attention to, even though I haven't known you very long. And we also have a governor, in my opinion, that has usurped a lot of the authorities that belong to the legislature.
Yes.
And I'm constantly reminding people that we have three branches of government. Okay, we have the executive. He enforces the laws.
He does.
We have the judiciary, which says the law is legal. But you guys actually make the laws.
We make the laws.
You're the only ones that are authorized in the state of Arizona to make the laws.
That's right.
Three
And our
equal branches of
governor,
governor, yeah.
Unfortunately, the Senate sine die, which means they closed up at a time when they never should have. They passed emergency legislation, but they didn't put a time limit on it.
Yeah. So we can't live in a world of executive orders or without timelines or limitations to the executive. We have to understand the three equal branches of government, and we've learned that in Schoolhouse Rock. And
right.
I mean, that's basic.
right.
That's
Yeah.
basic.
Welcome back, Cotter.
Exactly. And we saw what happened, and we mentioned this before, during the failed Obama administration. Obama ran the United States by executive order, and he did that because he had zero leadership skills.
Right.
And it's forcing programs and regulations down the throats of Americans. And I saw the same thing here in Arizona.
What did he say? I have a pen and I have a phone.
a pen and a
Yeah,
phone.
a pen and a phone.
But
Have
you
a pen
know-
and a phone.
You know, guys, I've watched this gentleman, even though I didn't know him long, and I've been very, very impressed. You know, every once in a while you see somebody come out of the legislature that shows leadership. And I think a lot of that's because of your military background in terms of leadership. You know what has to be done, and you know how it has to be done, and you just make it happen. And that's what we need in Arizona, somebody to make things happen. Now, the big secret that we're going to announce tonight is, drum roll, tell us.
Tell us the big secret.
Tell us the big secret.
I'm going down that snow hill that he just came. No, this is the deal. I mean, I've been a leader. I would say 80% of my adult professional career in the military, and the decisions that I had to make were life and death decisions. They weren't the kind of decisions where somebody's store or business was closed, but that is life and death also. We're talking about a person being able to take care of themselves, and they're able to make sure that their families are fed, and they're able to contribute to our state. So, first of all, we don't need a leader or somebody who says that they're a leader controlling our shoestrings.
Right.
We don't need that. So what we need in Arizona is the type of leader that stands up for the people of Arizona.
Amen.
That is the number one job of a governor, I believe.
Yes, it is.
And then we need a governor that's going to power through. Now, with this COVID, though, we had folks that were okay about closing down the economy. A leader doesn't do that. A leader assesses the situation, talks to the subject matter experts on the ground, which are the business owners, school teachers, administrations, and makes those decisions to power through. Now, a leader does that, and I am a leader. That's why that I am looking at running for governor for 2022. Arizona deserves outstanding leadership.
Yes, it does.
That's
Arizona's-
amazing. Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
I'm
That is
excited
awesome.
about this because we have, Ducey started out, I think, on the right foot, but somehow he got out of step with the public. And, the economy of the state is tanking because the indecision and the decisions that are being made based on faulty information.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest disappointment is that the governor was a businessman.
Yes.
He knows what it takes in the sleepless nights and the trying to balance the budgets and the thin margins that a lot of the restaurants, the bars, these small mom and pop shops have. They don't have these big margins like a Walmart, like a Home Depot, where they can, see this through. When you say we have to reduce you to half capacity or 25% capacity, you can't. You have such a small margin. At 100% capacity, you can't do it. And so this is just devastating, and people's life savings are being dwindled because they don't want to give up that hope. And we live in a country that we have that American dream. Now, I just wanted to mention one thing, Uncle Ronnie, because Walt is just an amazing person. Now, we were on the campaign trail, not together, but we were going down the trail at the same time. And I met him and his lovely wife. And, they came to me and they said, Ray, if you need help, if you need anything, we're here for you. And I kind of stopped for a second. And I thought, is this real? I mean, he's going through the whole campaign by himself, and he's here offering help for somebody else too. I've never seen that.
And when he was targeted.
Right, but he truly loves people.
Yes.
He loves everybody, and he knows that every decision that he makes is going to either be favorable or adversely affect him on a personal level. Sometimes our leaders, Speaker Pelosi, for instance, she'll make a decision, it doesn't affect her.
Yeah.
She said, $600 is great. This is a lot of money for people.
When she lives in a mansion.
And she lives in a mansion. She spends
She
what,
eats that much
$40
ice cream a week.
$40 on a pint of ice cream. You know what I mean? She's out of touch, out of reality. Well, you live the life. You walk the walk, you talk the talk, and you are there, and your family is there, and your wife is a firecracker.
Oh, yes, she
I
is.
love your wife, and I met your daughter.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, you must be so proud. You know, being a father is extremely difficult, but you make it seem so easy.
Well, you know,
and I just admire you for that.
Being in the military when my kids were younger, I was able to, use my drill sergeant when they were younger, particularly my boys. And
I've heard some of your stories.
Open the drawers.
Yeah.
And I want to see that the socks are here and underwear.
Well, I knew where they were hiding everything because privates do the same thing, and they could never figure out why Dad was able to do this.
Let's cut to the quick here. Okay, so now, ladies and gentlemen, this man is going to run for governor of Arizona in 2022.
And this is breaking news. Here on Hub Radio.
This is
breaking.
This is breaking news.
That's a big deal. And I'm not a politician. And listen to politicians go off and be backslapping each other. Politicians, you guys, honestly, I'm going to look at you as representatives right now. Why is it that you want to represent all the people of Arizona, Walt? What do you think you bring to the table that should make you a viable candidate, a winning candidate for the Republican Party?
Yeah, excellent question.
That's
Tim.
a great question. I'm glad you asked it, and it's an easy answer. I work for the people of Arizona, and I have to keep them focused and them first, and they are the priority. Every day that I go to work, every day that I go into the governor's office, the mission is to take care of Arizonans, not to put big interest or the D.C. pundits or the establishment in front of Arizonans. That's what we can't do. Now, when we're talking about the close downs, when the governor closed down half of the economy, I looked in the Constitution and I didn't see where an epidemic says there's an epidemic, close the economy.
Or lose your liberty and freedom.
Exactly. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can move forward, but if we put the decision making into these business owners how to mitigate the COVID spread and move forward with our economy, a lot of people would not have lost their jobs, their homes, and their livelihood.
Yes.
We have to have more trust and confidence in Arizonans. And when you do an executive order or run the state as it's been ran, you don't trust your Arizonans.
Right.
That's why I'm running. I know what Arizona needs, and I know the type of leadership that they are yearning for. And as I said before, Arizonans deserve outstanding leadership.
In a one-liner, we could say that for you, Walt, in Arizona, its people are my priority.
People are first. Absolutely.
Yeah. I love that. People are my priority.
And this has worked very well for President Trump to say America first. The people of Arizona first.
So what is it do you think the people of Arizona want?
They want.
I know what they want. And what are the top three things that the people in Arizona want?
Well, first of all, we want a strong economy. We want safe borders, and we want to make sure our communities are safe. That means not talking about defunding our police. That means standing behind our police and giving them the resources that they need. That means allowing parents to pick where they want to send their kids to school and not the other way around. And that also means trust in the legislative process, that the legislature is going to do their job, the judiciary going to enforce, or not enforce, but be able to interpret those laws, and the executive does what the people want, not at our own will. So those are my three, if you ask me.
I think those are good. It's a strong economy, a strong border access, free access to education for parents and their children. Those are excellent points, and I would have hoped that you would say those three. But I think in front of that right now, especially, you're working towards a future election.
Yes, sir.
What America wants right now, what Arizonans want,
they want
to know that they can count on having a free and fair election.
Yeah, they want
one that's not fraudulent, one in which we elect people and then they serve us.
Exactly.
It's a simple matter. We're guaranteed it, but it's not happening, or doesn't appear to be right now for most conservatives.
Well, that's
what can you do about that?
That's simple. Clear and transparent elections to make sure that we restore confidence in our election process. And it takes more than just writing legislation to get confidence back. What we need to do in Arizona when we are talking about elections is look at the system. So last week I had a meeting with all the recorders. The recorders have something to do with our election process.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. That was the first time that anybody met with the recorders. And they have a whole different agenda of how they believe our elections could be run, and they are good ideals. What a leader does is look around to find out those ideals at work. Simply because I don't come up with that ideal doesn't mean that it's a bad ideal if it comes up from somebody else.
Right.
And it's about putting people first and making sure that I fulfill my responsibilities. The responsibility for 22 is to make sure that folks have confidence in our election. So that's the main goal.
Thomas
That's the
Edison,
target.
to that point, Thomas Edison was probably the greatest idea man, certainly during the Industrial Revolution, and his
Yes.
legacy continues.
Yes.
He's always said that at Menlo Park, we had a sign somewhere at Menlo Park that said that he believed more minds were better than one.
Yeah.
That one mind is a catalyst for others, and that's why he had a team of people always working at every project. Nobody worked alone because somebody else would see something and spark something in someone else's mind, and real creativity occurs and faster. Are you open to that sort of thing?
Exactly. Well, I was a tank commander, and I was also a tank platoon sergeant. In a tank,
that's
you have
great.
thank you. In a tank, you have 4 people working that tank. One person can't fire that main gun. 2 people can't fire the main gun, but 4 people do by working together. We have to bring, number one, our party back together, and people who love this state and love this country, regardless of what side of the aisle they are on, because we have a great divide, just like we have in the United States. By doing that, by bringing people together, working together, we can move forward. When I ran a platoon, I had 3 other tanks that we had to work together. One tank could not take on a tank company. We needed 4 tanks to do this. Now, folks might be saying, well, we're not tanks. But the teamwork is what I am trying to get at.
Right.
Absolutely.
Every Arizonan has a stake in this, and every Arizona has a responsibility to hold their elected officials accountable, to do their job, and to make sure that we have sound leadership. Leader doesn't sit back in the cuff waiting for things to happen. A leader makes it happen and makes sure that it is a positive and it takes care of Arizonans, and that's what I'm doing, and that's why I'm running for governor.
You know, I had a
That's
question.
terrific.
I had a question for you. So, given the same scenario that we went through, I mean, hindsight is 2020.
Yes,
I mean,
it is.
you know, we gotta put that on the line. But given the same thing, an emergency should not last for an extended period of time.
No, it shouldn't.
If it does, then you're not a good leader because the emergency should become smaller.
The idea is
as-
to get us through the time
Right,
as
exactly.
a leader.
So as a legislator, and I know that this happened before you even got in, when 9/11 happened, they give the special emergency authority to the governors, but there was no time limitation. What is a reasonable amount of time? For me, in my eyes, I think after 30 days,
Yeah.
the legislature should be called back into session.
Exactly.
Automatically.
Yeah, automatically.
No, yeah,
Before, if the emergency, if needed, they could be called before, but I think the maximum amount that an emergency should, from the time they call the emergency, there's a 30-day clock, and that's it, and then they automatically come back into session.
And we can do that very easily. We can write legislation to do that. And that is also about moving forward, and that's what we need to do. We need to put some time limits on these things.
Has anyone written that legislation yet?
No, it hasn't been
This
written.
has been going
but-
on for a while, and I've heard a lot of legislators and senators griping about this problem, and yet we remain in it. I just wondered if any of you had taken a step forward, and I'd ask you, Walt,
Yes.
if nobody has, would you please take the horn, take it by the horns, I hate to use that term, but take that bull by the horn and make some legislation. Get it started.
Yeah.
Make that move as soon as we can, because that's got to be in the bag. And Arizona citizens, Americans, obviously in Arizona, need to know that we can count on our government to be representative. And right now, it's not representative. We don't have representative government because you're not allowed to be part of our government.
Right.
Because the dictator
Right.
won't let. Well, he's our governor, but he won't let you.
No,
And that's
I
just wrong.
agree.
I know it wasn't planned that way, but it is that way. Can you make up some legislation so this never happens again?
Well, I'm already a step before you. I've opened a
Good.
packet to do just that, what we're talking about. Now, will it get heard? We've got to push it through, and I hope it does get heard because that's important.
So is it the speaker that we need to put some pressure on?
The Speaker, the President, and whoever holds the committee that the bill will go through. Now, I know there's other pieces of legislation that other legislators are putting out that speaks to this, and I think that we take a look at all the legislation that speaks to this and see what the best piece is and move forward. Simply, if it's
Well, I
not
can
mine, it's
guarantee
a
you,
great idea to
representing
do.
LD23, as a member of LD23, one of the largest legislative districts, not only in Arizona but in the United States.
Yeah, with population
we want
wise.
action in this matter.
Yeah.
No question about it.
Yes.
And we would really appreciate you jumping out in front of this. I would say that. The other thing is, I don't know if other people out there realize that you are a black Republican.
I am?
But I want them to.
What?
Yes,
You didn't know that?
Nobody told me
Wait,
that.
wait, is this in black and white or color? That's what I want to know.
Now, the reason why I'm bringing it up is because that's a wonderful thing. And most of us in the Republican Party admire anybody who joins as a conservative who is of color, because obviously it's good for America, it's good for conservatism, and it's a special issue to step out there and do that when a lot of people are against conservatives of color joining and acting like conservatives. Man, thank you for stepping out, because that is exactly what America needs.
Tim, there's
Thank
one other thing here that is important along with that line, and that is, unfortunately, because of some of the laws in the United States, there are broken families, black broken families, where there's no superhero in the family. Yeah.
Well,
the
everybody
male is absent from the family.
Everybody agrees
and
that.
to see an
absent father.
alpha male like Walt out there and leading the charge. I mean, this. Don't get me started about people that yell racism all the time, because I don't see it.
Now I'm curious. There's a talk show host been around a long time, Larry
Elder.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he came out with a documentary. I don't know if you saw it. Did you see it, Uncle Tom?
Yeah, Uncle Tom, I saw
I
it.
haven't seen it yet.
Okay, I have not seen it yet. Have
I
you
haven't
seen
either.
it?
I have seen it.
So what do you say about that? Is it true? I mean, being in
It
the
is.
position that you are.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah?
I mean, if you look at my last election, upwards to 1.5 were dumped into my election to take me out. President Obama actually endorsed my opponent, Coral Evans. And you don't see that in a state run.
What did he know him personally?
I don't.
No, it was that Walt is a black Republican and a conservative and a Christian.
So they tried to bring in Obama.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't have that,
But
right?
but here's the deal. The Democrats, and not all Democrats, okay, the Democrats that want to change this country into socialism, want to change our state into being in bondage, they don't believe that my narrative, being a black Republican, is the right thing. I'm supposed to be still stuck on the plantation. And I say that, and some folks are probably, oh my goodness,
Well,
you said that.
just listen to Candace Owen. She'll tell you exactly what that
Exactly.
means.
Well, I heard
So-
she's going to be running for Congress. She said
That's
no.
good.
Is-
That's good.
Has
She announced today that she's going to run for
Wow,
Congress.
that's amazing.
So,
Hey,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So,
Please.
so I'd just like to really quickly about my family. My father raised, he stayed in the home. He's a very strong alpha male. My mother was there to make sure that she nurtured us and pointed us in the right direction. And my grandparents had a strong role and influence in my life. Now, my grandfather served in the military. And I asked him one time, I said, Granddad, how could you serve a country and love a country that didn't love you? And his answer to me was, it's not my responsibility or the country's responsibility to love me. It's my responsibility to love my country.
Amen.
And that resonated with me through my whole adult life and as a young man. We have a responsibility as Americans to move America first, not just demographics or color. So when they throw in the race card, they say that you're racist because you wear a Trump hat, or you're racist because your views are different than the regular narrative that we get from the leftist elites. That's wrong.
Right.
We are thinking, breathing people, and we have a part in this country. However, the problem is that when we have 70% of black males hitting the prison system, and because of that, they have a lack of a father in the home, there's a problem with that. When we have abortion clinics that are killing 1,000 black babies every single day, there's a problem with that. And I've said this to many Democrats who happen to be black. How can you support a party that's blatantly killing us? And the answer is, you're an Uncle Tom and you're a sellout.
Yeah, the answer is you're a problem.
There's no argument for that. And I know what I've said probably shocked some of your viewers, but that is the kind of leadership that we need. Straightforward, aggressive, and moving Arizona forward and getting past the narrative that we are victims.
Well, we have to get past that the narcissistic attitude that everybody has, and that's why I said in the public schools, teach them how to be good people.
Yes.
And teach them how to be good citizens, because it is a responsibility. It's a responsibility to be a good citizen. You can't just sit back and reap the benefits of everybody else working hard. You need to stand up there, be a good person, and be a good citizen.
Yep.
And we're just getting away from that, because in that narcissistic bubble that they live in, it's about me.
Oh, yeah.
You owe me. You did this to me. I feel bad about what you
Victimization.
said. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Now, Tim, I'm curious if you would agree with this. I think that the government's role is limited. I believe that because that's what the Constitution says, not only the federal, but the Arizona State Constitution. And I think as a governor, as a legislature, they should say, here's our recommendations. This is how we feel that you should make your decision. But you as Arizonans, you as Americans, you make your own decision.
Yes, we do.
If you want to open up, that's your decision. If you want to go to their place of business, that's your decision. Nobody's being forced to do anything. That's why we should open up everything.
Yes.
And if you would like to go out, if you want to wear a mask, and you feel that the information that you've been given by them is accurate, and that's how you want to live, that's your decision.
Sure.
But we shouldn't be forced
That's what America's
to
about.
do anything.
Yeah.
It's not about being forced to do anything.
No, it's about your personal choices in
Right.
life.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
That's right.
Now,
Well, I want to remind everybody of what the obvious thing is. There is no pandemic clause to the Constitution.
That's right.
There is no, all this applies except if it's below 56 degrees, or you've got a pandemic, or whatever. That's not what the Constitution says.
Yeah.
Now, if we want to make the Constitution say something like that, okay, then let's go through the process that's outlined in the Constitution, and we can make changes. An example of a better change, I think, a longer-term change, would be the one I wrote about in my book called Ruling the Elite on Amazon. Now, I'm not saying that just for applause, but I'm saying it, Walt, because I think there's things in there that you would embrace and you would really like. And
Yes.
one of the things is what we can't seem to even talk about or think about at the federal level, and it's one of the things that's driven us into this ditch that we're in, hoping to survive.
Yeah.
And that is the news can lie to the people.
Yeah.
Politicians can lie to the people. Business people cannot lie to the government. Business people cannot lie to the people. The only groups allowed to lie without penalty are politicians and representatives. It's a better example. Representatives, and we'll hold that in abeyance, but the news drives it. And now that they're in total allegiance, at least on the Democratic side, with one party, this is terrible. One of the things I talked about, and I used to talk about on my radio show, and I've done in different speeches, is the need for certified news. Now, I'm presenting this to you, Walt. Maybe you could use it in a campaign, or just stick it in your pocket as you're working in your campaign. And that is, today, like a lot of people, I eat organic food. And I eat, let's take bananas. I eat certified
That's his
organic
secret.
bananas.
That's why you look so
Right
good.
next to them, you can get certified bananas, certified organic, or you can just get regular bananas. So why don't we do that with the news? So there would be certified news, an agency that looks, I know you're going, we got agencies, but we have agencies for everything, and we trust it. We have judges. We have judges gone amok, but we can have certified news. That if this would be news that would be, you'd have to be able to back it up. It would have to be true. Otherwise, what would be the penalty? Well, you'd lose your right to broadcast or to print or whatever for a penalty period of time. But the point is, you can still have all the opinion you want. You can go 24/7 like CNN does. It's only opinion.
Yes.
But if you want news and you want truth, there's certified news, and Americans would thrive on it.
Well,
They
Tim-
would love to go to a place.
Tim,
where
I'm
they
sure
can get true news.
that Representative Blackman would certainly welcome some meetings with us
Yes.
to discuss
Oh, there we got
issues.
Ron and I could keep you busy for days just talking about stuff.
Well, listen,
But my question to you is, the idea sounds good. I know it is. because I've gotten a lot of feedback on it over the last few
And
years.
it's your idea, so it's
Yeah, it was my idea. But still, what if we did that in Arizona? What if we could do that in Arizona? Now, you think, oh, well, the federal government controls communication. Yeah, but they don't do it well, do they?
No, they don't.
Is
So
is
we
Tim
wanted
making a
better
pitch
than
to
what the
run for
federal
governor
government
as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
no,
yeah,
Tim.
I won't
Tim,
do
I
that.
think people forget.
I'll work with you, though, Walt.
Thank you so much.
I
Tim.
think people
I want you-
forget,
I already want you to win.
and we all know this. Well, you know this for sure. That the airwaves belong to the people.
Yes, they do.
The
Yes.
buildings belong to the people. The land belongs to the people. It is for the people, of, by, and for the people. And at the very beginning, our founding fathers said, we're going to give you a corporate structure, and if you serve the people, you can continue to have that corporate structure. If you don't, we take it away. If ABC is not for the people, we take away ABC because we control that they are a corporation.
Yeah. I think how we
That's
can.
the idea.
I think how we can. You mentioned the news, and what we can do as politicians, our representatives,
Public servants, statesmen in your case.
Yes, public servants. Is
Well, you know, I do have a problem with the public servant thing. I got to tell you, most people out here really don't think of representatives or politicians as
No.
public servants
No,
or anybody
they
else in the bureaucracy.
They don't.
Because at one time they were. But
So-
today, they get better pensions, early retirement, and more pay than the average American does.
Yeah. So here,
And
here,
that,
Here,
it
let
changed that whole
Walt
perspective.
let Walt
here's
respond.
no, that's
I
okay.
can't hear everything.
Here's a deal on this, and what keeps me grounded. Every decision that I make, I have to go back and see the people in Walmart, in my church, on my block, my neighbors. And if I can't look at them at the end of the day because of something that I did or did not do or lied about, I don't need to be in this job.
That's right.
Yes.
That's the way
And,
to
I,
think.
and I have to be able to understand that the limitations of my job goes how far the people want me to go. As Arizonans, we want consistent leadership. A person will walk in the sand or walk in the desert all day and drink the sand if they don't have leadership.
That's right.
But leadership gets us moving forward. And I like when you brought up businesses. Now, some people have asked me, what would you have done? And this isn't Monday morning quarterback. What we should have done was kept the economy open. Let
Yes.
business owners control their destinies and mitigate this threat of the COVID. I'm not saying COVID wasn't out there, but we have smart business people in Arizona. How about we go to the business community and say, how do we keep you afloat? And if you have to close, let's stop making you pay TPT taxes. That doesn't make any sense. I think Stevie Wonder would say that again. He's not driving a bus. So we need to make sure that we are taking care of Arizonans and taking care of people and not forget that the people is who we work for.
Listen, we only have a couple of minutes
And
left.
that's a statesman. That is
Yes,
a
he is
statesman.
a
That's the way to
statesman.
think.
We only have a couple minutes left, guys. So I just want to. Have you set up a committee yet? What can our audience do to help you get started on this process?
Well, I appreciate you having me here on your show, and that's a start. Word of mouth. A party or a candidate could have millions of dollars, but millions of dollars, in my opinion, do not win campaigns. What wins campaigns is heart, drive, loving your community, loving your state, and loving your country, and really understanding the Constitution. As a person who stood in front of terrorism and stood between Americans and freedom in our Constitution, I understand what it is to sacrifice. I understand what it is when one of my men died on the battlefield protecting our Constitution. We need folks in office that understand what socialism looks like and understands what people need, and that is leadership. Fresh, aggressive, steady leadership who's going to be there out in front, not in the rear.
Excellent, excellent.
Love it.
Very good.
We're
Very
gonna put the word out. You're always welcome on the
Oh, yeah,
show.
thank you.
Always. You just call me. You
Well, I see-
Especially when your name says governor in the front. We'd
Okay.
love to have you on the show.
Okay, yeah, and
Walt, thanks so much for being here tonight. And
Thank you.
for what you're doing.
thank you. I appreciate you. And you got good snacks over there, so I'll be back.
All right.
At any rate, we're just about out of time here. We've gone a little over, but it was really well worth it with Tim on the phone. You know, he has written this book, and
like to get that.
you do need
Yeah,
to
give it to us one
need to
more
see.
time, Tim.
Yeah, what's the name of the book?
It's called Ruling the Elite, and its subtitle is Moving Power from the Parties to the people.
Oh, yeah.
Amen.
And
It's
that's
on
what needs to
Amazon.
be done.
That's
Yeah.
what we need to do.
Great
And
idea.
I have a copy of it in the other room if anybody'd like to see it. Listen, Mr. O'Connor, I'd like to be probably the last one or the first one. Happy New Year.
Yes. Happy New Year to everybody.
Yeah, we're
Happy
just
New
going.
Year.
We got about 1 minute to go. And Walt, we sure appreciate you being on the show tonight.
Uncle Ronnie, I wasn't here earlier, but we had a fantastic time at this event. It was down at the state capitol. Liz Harris put it together. Eric Woodnick was there. Suzanne Shearer was talking. I know, Walt, you were there earlier. I saw you there. But they need some help too, getting some people. We want election integrity as well. Did you mention how many views we got?
I think we did, didn't we?
Did you?
Up front.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we did.
We got 107,000 on Senator Farnsworth and almost 70,000 on Liz. Now, I did want to tell you, this is a little competition. Right Side Broadcasting. Go to Right Side Broadcasting and you can see the video of today's rally at the Capitol.
Yes, they were holding it
And we'd
live.
like to thank you all for watching this past year, and we're encouraging you all to watch next year. And you'll be back because we're fighting back.
Right, and Happy New Year,
Happy New
everybody.
Year!